Josh or my name. I appreciate that.
Roger that, Your Honor.
All right, thanks. Okay, let's see what we're doing, Mr. McKenzie.
We're back on YouTube.
Thank you. Okay, and this case also starts out as a DWI first. Everybody agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. McKenzie, in clause 640066 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. McKenzie in clause 640066?
Yes, Judge, it's for 14 months, deferred adjudication, a $500 fine, 250 of which is probated, court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CatSnip, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and $60 to DPS for lab.
What about these niggas? Watch these niggas.
Everybody needs to turn off your microphone unless you're talking specifically to me because we're getting background noise. And state, I'm going to warn you one more time. My minimum fine on DWIs is going to be $500. You can't like assess 500 and probate 250, but I'm going to let this one go through, no problem. But in the future, my baseline I'm going to approve is 500. Okay.
For DWIs, Your Honor.
It's a DWI.
It is a DWI. I was just asked if it was just for DWIs or if that's for
any level of DWI.
Any level. Yes, sir, Judge.
Deferred, not deferred, whatever. But this one will go through fine. Okay. Mr. Hill, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge. We just want to remind the court that my client wants to move to Oregon, and we'd ask the court to consider transferring.
Hey, Mr. McKenzie, how soon do you want to go to Oregon?
At least within 3 days to a week.
And what, you already have a job up there?
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going to, do we know exactly where you're going? Like what county in Oregon or what city, that sort of thing?
We do, Judge. I've got his address, his exact address.
When he signs in with probation, just let them know. Susan, you can throw in here anywhere. We just want to transfer his probation to Oregon if we can. If we can't, he can answer by whatever mail or Zoom or whatever the probation department would rather use.
All right, Judge, I need you to write that on the paperwork that's going to go to probation so they understand that.
I'm writing it down.
And Mr. McKenzie, please make sure that you take the full address where you're going to be residing, along with the zip code and also your employment address and information up there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Susan, should I put report by mail or Zoom/mail, or what would you rather me do? What's the probation office's choice?
How about transfer if possible? If not, report by Zoom.
Got it. Okay, with you, Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see if I got this. Mr. McKenzie, in clause 640066, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 14 months deferred adjudication probation. He says a $500 fine, probating $250 of that, plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, or equivalent, because we're going to Oregon. So you just need to find a basic outpatient drug course for the same number of hours as CatSnip. Susan, that's how many hours?
It'll be 16 hours.
We need a 16-hour outpatient drug course, and I'll be happy. Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7 months, and reimbursement of $60 to the Bexar County, to the Texas Department of Public Safety for lab fees. And defendant allowed to move to Oregon, and we will first try to transfer his DWI probation to Oregon if that's possible. We're all good. If that's not possible, he's going to be allowed to report by Zoom to the Bexar County CSCD. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. McKenzie?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
No, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. McKenzie. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, let's see what we're doing on Miss Prado.
Judge, on Ms. Prado, it's also a DWI, and the state did probate underneath the 500 threshold that the court requires.
I'll let it go through. So let's not worry about that for today. It's just future stuff I'm excited about.
Yes, sir.
But this case starts out as a greater than 1.5 and you're going to waive it, the 1.5, is that correct? Yeah.
That's right. The state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 and proceed on DWI first.
Objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Ms. Prado in cause 669890 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest, Your Honor.
And is there an agreement for Ms. Prado?
Yes, Judge, it's for 180 days in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, a $750 fine, 400 of which is probated, court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CATSNP, Start Smart Mobile for half the term, $60 fee to DPS for the lab, and restitution, if any, to Bianca Luna.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor, but I would like you, could I make a consideration for the court right now, really quick?
Sure, go ahead.
So we got a term of 16 months, other than an incident that occurred about 20 years ago, which was eventually dismissed. Ms. Prado has no other criminal history. I do want to advise the court that she is a single mother of a 13-year-old child. She's responsible for her mother since her father passing back in 2015. Her mother's unable to work and care for herself, and she suffers from several disabilities. Ms. Prado's in charge of all this, and other than this one mishap, there's no other criminal history on her behalf. So I would like to ask from the court if you would reduce the term from 16 months to 12 months.
All right, here's how this works. A, if you made a plea bargain with the state, then it stays exactly as y'all agreed to. If the state gives me the ability to reduce something, then y'all need to let me know. So state, is this a plea bargain? Or is the state giving me authorization to reduce the length of the sentence, or probation rather, if I wanted to?
No, Judge, this is a firm offer. The state did probate $400 of the fine, but there was a crash and the BAC was quite high. And so the state would have to stick to the offer that was made.
Okay, so Mr. Parra, this is a plea bargain and I don't have the authority to modify the length of the sentence. It is now currently 16 months, probably because of the accident. Eddie, would you agree that's the aggravating factor that you looked at?
That's correct, Judge.
I will tell you this, Mr. Parra, and this is not just for Ms. Prado, this is just for anybody on probation in any of our courts. If they successfully complete everything they're supposed to do, everything, pay every penny they're supposed to pay, do every hour of community service, et cetera, et cetera. Once they've got everything done, if they still haven't gotten to the end of their term, I will let them answer by Zoom or whatever the probation department wants, so they don't have to go down there, et cetera, and waive any further costs. But that's as good as it gets. So y'all can go through with the plea bargain as is, or y'all can start over again, whatever you'd rather do.
We could continue, Judge.
Okay, then we're gonna leave everything as is and move along. So, Ms. Prado, in cause 669890, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. And I find you guilty. I assess why are we doing 480 days? Somebody knows something I don't know. I don't mind doing it. I just would like to know why.
180 days is because it was waived to
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 180. I have 480. I'm trying to figure out where that came from.
Oh,
got it.
yes.
So another 6 months underlying over 16-month term of probation. We all agree?
That's right, Judge.
So 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, a $750 fine, probating $400 of that, plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day times 8 months, which is half the term, $60 reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety for a lab fee, and restitution, if any, to Blanca Luna. Did I get that right? Let's see.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Blanca Luna. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Prado?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Mr. Parr, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, good luck, Ms. Prado. Thank you, Mr. Parra. You are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
See what we're doing, Mr. Aguilar. And State, you got a motion on Mr. Aguilar.
Yes, Judge, the state moves to waive the 0.15 enhancement and proceed on DWI first.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Mr. Aguilar on clause 674-113 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
You're in agreement.
Yes, Judge, it's for 14 months, deferred adjudication. It's a $600 fine. Court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CATSNIP, and start Smart Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Farmer, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Aguilar, on clause 674-113, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 14 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $600 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Aguilar?
Nothing from the state, Judge. No, Your Honor.
Let Mr. Aguilar. Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Pat, did we ever hear from Judge Barons?
No, Your Honor, but Mr. Benvenu came in.
Oh, good. Okay, 1,
I
2.
assume his defendant is here as well.
All right, we got 6 more. We're all good. 5-minute break while I get saddled up on this one. Okay, back on the record. Our batting order will consist of cause number 670065, State of Texas versus Luis A. Carrion, represented by Mr. Michael Bellevue. 676957, State of Texas versus Debbie Talamantes Stokes. Mr. Patrick Montgomery, cause number 673055, Harley D. Cady, represented by Mr. Douglas Kapmeyer. Cause number 656241 and 649268, State of Texas versus Michael Guerra, represented by Mr. Eric Reynolds. And cause 677361, State of Texas versus Gilbert H. Rico, represented by Mr. Arnulfo Ortiz. And cause number 619511, State of Texas versus Sejan Khanna, represented by Mr. Tim Roundtree. The first document I'm looking at on these cases is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference, that purports to have both the signature of the attorney and the defendant on it. In fact, Mr. Carrion, in cause number 670065, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. Mr. Bellevue, as attorney for Mr. Carrion, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Talamantes Stokes, in cause 676957, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir. It's yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Montgomery, as attorney for Ms. Talamantes Stokes, is also your signature on this document.
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Cady, in clause 673055, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Cady?
Cade, C-A-D-E, Cade.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Myers, is also your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Guerra, in clause 649268 and in clause 656241, I have two documents, one for each case. Is this your signature on each document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds, as attorney for Mr. Guerra, is this your signature on both of these documents in each of these cases also? Did we lose Eric? I can't hear you, Eric. I don't know why.
Your Honor, we may have lost him.
He was here, but he left, I think, once he realized his audio wasn't working.
Oh, that must have been a problem, Your Honor. He's back in. He's back in. He's coming in right now, Your Honor. Let's see if his audio, there he goes. All right, Your Honor.
Apologies, Judge. Yes, that's my signature.
Pat probably did that too. You know how she is. All right. Mr. Reynolds, in clause 649268 and 656241, is this your signature on both documents entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference for Mr. Guerra?
It is, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. Rico, in clause 677361, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Ortiz, as attorney for Mr. Rico, is this also your signature on this document? I lost Arnulfo. Your microphone's turned off, Arnulfo.
Mr. Ortiz, he may have stepped away, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Rico, take a break for a second. We're going to take you guys up last. So that's what it takes. Mr. Khanna, in clause 619511, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Khanna, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good to go. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea with the court. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Ms. Talamantes Stokes, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Cade, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Guerra, is this your signature on cause number 649268?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Guerra, is this your signature on cause 656241?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Rico, is this your signature on cause 677361?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ortiz, as attorney for Mr. Rico, did you sign the defendant's consent to plea by video conference?
I did.
Thank you. And Mr. Roundtree, see what we're doing here. I'm sorry, Mr. Khanna, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney. So in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Carrion?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Talamantes Stokes?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Cade?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Guerra, in both cases?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Rico?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that correct, Mr. Khanna?
Yes, sir.
As attorney for Mr. Carrion, Mr. Bellevue, have you had enough time to go over this case with him, and in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Talamantes Stokes, Mr. Montgomery.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Cade, Mr. Kapmeyer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Guerra in both cases, Mr. Reynolds.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Rico, Mr. Ortiz.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And same question for attorney for Mr. Khanna, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Carrion, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir, I am.
Thank you. Ms. Talamantes Stokes, same question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Cade, same question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Guerra, same question in both cases.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Rico, same question.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Khanna, same question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, attorney for Mr. Carrion, Mr. Bellevue, has the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
I believe they have.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Ms. Talamantes Stokes, Mr. Montgomery.
They did, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Cade, Mr. Kapmeyer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Guerra in both cases, Mr. Reynolds.
Yes, Judge.
And same question for attorney for Mr. Rico, Mr. Ortiz.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Khanna, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Let's see what we're doing with Mr. Carrion. Mr. Carrion, to the charge of driving while license invalid in cause number 670065. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Carrion in 670065?
Yes, Judge, the agreement is for 4 months, deferred adjudication, a $250 fine plus court costs, and a 24-hour community service.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
That is the agreement.
Mr. Carrion, cause 670065, court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while license is invalid. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 4 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $250 fine plus court costs and 24 hours of community service. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Carrion?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from defense, Your Honor.
And Mr. Bellevue, have you discussed with Mr. Carrion the reason why he didn't have a driver's license and maybe how you could help him get one?
We have discussed the fact that he has several outstanding tickets.
Okay, well, I guess slow down, Mr. Carrion. Let's get your license back and make you street legal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see what we're doing, Ms. Talamantes Stokes.
Yes, sir.
The state has a motion on this one, Judge.
Ah, okay. I didn't get a plea bargain on for some reason on your document. Maybe y'all hadn't agreed to it yet. All right.
Yes.
76957 state, you have a motion. Go ahead.
Yes, Judge, the state moves to waive count 1 of the information and proceed on count 2, which is for obstruction.
And this case started out as a straight DWI, is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
Got it. No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Ms. Talamantes Stokes, to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, ma'am?
Guilty.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Talamantes Stokes?
Yes, Judge. The agreement is for 12 months deferred adjudication plus a $500 fine, court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, and start Smart Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Montgomery, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, sir, it is.
Ms. Talamantes Stokes, across 676-957, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start Mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Talamantes Stokes?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nothing from defense, Your Honor.
Okay, good luck, Ms. Talamantes Stokes. Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
And let's see what we're doing, Mr. Cade. Mr. Cade, in cause 673-055 to the charge of theft, $750 to $2,500. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Cade in 673-055?
Yes, Judge. The agreement is for 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, a $400 fine, plus court costs, 80 hours of community service, an ATSE course, no contact order with Macy's, and the state will take into consideration cause number 675346.
Okay, I guess my question would be, you're TICing a family violence case. Is that kind of what you're doing?
That's right, Judge. The reason is because the complainant did waive prosecution, but the injuries, there were no restitution owed to the victim as well. The injuries were not very severe, and so the state is TICing it as part of the theft plea.
Mr. Kapmeyer, do you agree nothing's going to come back and bite us on a family violence allegation initially?
I believe that's the case.
All right, all good. Mr. Cade, in cause 673-055, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of theft, $750 to $2,500. I find you guilty. It says 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, a $400 fine plus court costs, 80 hours community service, ATSE, and a theft course, or you have no contact with Macy's stores anywhere. Taking into consideration clause 675-346, which is granted, and it shall be dismissed. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Cade?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Anything further,
Nothing from
Mr.
defense. Nothing from defense.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Cade. Thank you, Mr. Kapmeyer. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
Have a blessed day.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We got a couple of cases on Mr. Guerra and clause 649-268. Let me find Mr. Guerra. There he is. Okay, state, you got a motion. I apologize. Let's start with clause 649-268.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement.
See, Mr. Reynolds, is that okay with you?
No objections, Judge.
I imagine not. No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Mr. Guerra, in clause 649-268 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, sir.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Guerra in cause 649-268?
Yes, Judge. It's for 180 days in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months, a $850 fine plus court costs, 64 hours of community service, DWI intervention, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, start Smart Mobile for half the term. And this case is to run concurrent with cause number 656241.
Okay, give me a minute to do some serious writing here.
Yes, sir.
Make sure I've got the numbers correct. I'm looking at two cause numbers. Oh, nope, I got it. I had Mr. Rico sitting there. Mr. Gary, you need to slow down. You're causing me a lot of writing over here. Okay, and Mr. Reynolds, is that your understanding of the agreement in cause 649268?
It is, Judge, and when the court allows, I'd like to address the defendant's GPS. He's currently under house arrest, Judge.
All right, let me finish both these and we'll be happy to talk about that. And
Thank you,
I'm sure we can take all that off because he's here, he's not going anywhere, so it's all working. Okay, Mr. Guerra, in cause 649268, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months. 64 hours of community service, DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months. This case around concurrent with 656241. State, what did I miss?
Nothing, Judge. That's everything.
Stephen, what did I miss?
Nothing of further agreement, Judge.
All right, good on that one. Mr. Guerra, on cause 656241. State, I think you have a motion on this one too, don't you?
That's right, Judge. Yes, the state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement.
Once again, no objection from the defense. That will be granted. So, Mr. Guerra, on cause 656241 to the charge of driving while intoxicated. First offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, sir.
Okay. And is there an agreement for Mr. Guerra in cause 656241, or is it kind of exactly the same as the other one? They're running concurrent.
It's exactly the same as 649268.
And Mr. Reynolds, do you agree?
Yes, Judge.
Great, great. Okay, let's make sure I did this one correctly. Mr. Guerra, on cause 656241, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 16 months. 64 hours community service, DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months. This case will run concurrent with 649268. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Guerra and 656241?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Yes, Judge. On the defendant's behalf, he's currently on full house arrest GPS. We are asking the court to consider releasing him from that since he's now in the court's probation. And my client did also want me to ask the court to consider any financial hardships he's having right now on possibly waiving some fees on the interlock device, Judge.
I don't know that I have any authority to do anything on interlock device. However, let's talk about GPS. Did he do anything more aggravated somewhere down the line other than have 2 pending DWIs?
Not that I'm aware of, Judge.
All right, well, let's alter them in and waive full GPS from this point forward. So that'll go in on the order today. It won't take effect till tomorrow, Mr. Guerra, but that'll be gone. Do I also have him on weekly report in UA? Do we think, Stephen? Do we know? That would be a normal thing for me to do along with full GPS.
I think so, Judge. We'd ask the court to go back to normal.
So, Mr. Guerra, what else? What other pretrial conditions do I have you on other than full GPS and weekly report in UA?
Scram monitor, sir.
All right, he's on a scram monitor. We're going to add the Smart Start mobile at 4 blows a day, and as soon as that's active, he can turn in the scram. So I'm going to say get the Smart Start mobile within 10 days. I mean, he's on a scram monitor. That's as good as it gets, but it costs him lots of money. So bottom line is, if he can get on his Smart Start mobile within 10 days, if that sounds like a reasonable period of time, as soon as he gets active on the Smart Start mobile at 4 blows a day, he can turn in the scram bracelet.
Thank you, Judge.
Is that okay with you, Mr. Guerra?
Yes, sir.
All right. And bear with me. I don't have access to records. Pat would have to look it up, but I assure you there's some violation in there somewhere that punched my button that made me do all those bad things to you. So let's don't all do that again. Why not? Don't we? So you be good and we'll be fine. Mr. Reynolds had that little chat you have with all the clients that are in my court about how mean I am and how they're going to have a really bad day if anything happens wrong, right?
Right, Judge.
Your Honor, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did I hear Mr. Reynolds state that he had interlock as well? Is he on ignition interlock?
I think Stephen thought he was on ignition interlock, but he's really on scram, and maybe he's on both.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I meant scram.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
By the way, this head needs to be out. How's the baby doing?
She's doing good, Judge. I can hear her yelling from my office right now.
Well, when she gets to be about 3, can I borrow? Because little kids attract women better than puppies, and puppies work good. But then you already know that because you were a professional bachelor for a long time.
That's correct, Judge.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Judge.
Hey, Mr. Guerra, one more warning from you. I don't want to preach to you, but you got 2 DWI convictions. The next one's going to be a felony, and it's going to be a game changer. So let's don't go there.
Understood, sir.
Good luck, sir. All right. Y'all out of here. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Rico, let's look for you. And this one stays at DWI greater than 1.5. Is that correct, State?
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
Mr. Rico, in class 677-361 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. How do you plead, sir?
I plead no contest, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there an agreement for Mr. Rico in 677-361?
Yes, Judge. The agreement that was made was 12 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 10 months, a $600 fine, court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, and start Smart Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Ortiz, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor. My client currently has a portable alcohol device.
Does he have a Smart Start mobile portable alcohol device?
Mr. Rico, what do you have?
The Smart Start. I blow 4 times a day.
Perfect, sir. That's exactly right. Okay, Mr. Rico, in clause 677-361, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated with blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 10 months, a $600 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 5 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Rico in 677-361?
No, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
Good luck, Mr. Rico. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let me find Mr. Khanna. And State, you got a motion on Mr. Khanna's case, it would appear.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement and proceed on DWI.
No objection.
I imagine not. Okay, no objection from the defense. That will be granted. Mr. Khanna, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Khanna, please?
Yes, Judge. It's for 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, a $600 fine, plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, and start Smart Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Judge.
Mr. Khanna, cause 619-511, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bear County Jail, probated for 14 months, assess a $600 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Khanna?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Oh, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Khanna. Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, when you finish, I have a question I'd like to ask you off